Europe right now is in a great deal of trouble. We're talking about recession in various nations. We're talking about the failure to find a common response, frankly, to not just the energy crisis and even perhaps beyond the war in Ukraine, how that can be brought to a hopefully successful conclusion, but also in terms of the politics.
Well, first of all, I would say, starting with something positive, that the European Union managed it to react on the Russian invasion in a very united way. And it was much more united than I ever thought. And still, after nearly 1 year, the European Union is still united in its reaction. So that's, I think, something very positive. But you're absolutely right. Looking on the economy, the situation is not that good, especially inflation and, of course, the energy prices are a huge problem for the European Union. And I think what went well in the last few months is that not only the countries, but especially the private sector, managed it to deal with this situation as good as possible. So I think for this winter, the situation or the expectation is a bit better than a few months ago. There is a lot of dependency in some countries when it comes to Russian gas, but it was possible to reduce this dependency a little bit. And I hope that on the long run, it will be a push for more renewable energies and that it will be a push for more diversification. And I think that's something necessary. And of course, the war will probably push this transformation even faster.
The oil and gas CEOs that I speak to on a regular basis, and I'm talking about the CEO of BP, the CEO of Total, and others, essentially say to me, it's not this winter that we need to worry about, it's next winter and the following winter, and that obviously has to do a great deal with supply. How worried are you, in a real way, that we could see social unrest in Europe?
No, I don't see social unrest, definitely not. I think that Europe will stay a very stable place. But of course, there is pressure on the governments to find solution. And I'm very happy, to be honest, if I hear somebody saying that he's not that much worried about this winter, but that he's much more worried about the next winter. Because a few months ago, and also not only myself, but most people were extremely worried about this winter. So I think that's, even if it's not done yet, but that's good news. Second point, I think the main problem is not only how and where to get energy. The main problem is the high prices. So what I'm worried about, long-term thinking, is that not only for the households high energy prices are a huge problem, but also for industrial companies, which are very export-orientated. In Germany, in Austria, and many other places, high energy costs means that they lose their competitiveness. And Europe always had very high labor costs, but Europe in the past had a very big market outside of Europe, looking in this part of the world, but also China. And because, of course, of also supply from Russia, we had, compared to other places of the world, quite low energy costs. So with these high costs now, and of course also with the ideas of decoupling from China, I fear that the export market for Europe could become smaller and smaller, and of course with higher costs you lose competitiveness. So I think long-term thinking, that will be the main challenge for Europe.